Every goal you've ever chased, the money, the status, the relationship, has all come down to one thing: emotion. You didn't really want that goal for itself, the promotion, the house, or the hot partner or whatever. You wanted the way you imagined it would make you feel: secure, desired, powerful, free. But no one teaches us how to actually work with emotions themselves. We're told to think smarter, work harder, and toughen up. So we build our lives on logic and willpower, hoping feelings will fall into place later. But they don't. Instead, success starts to taste flat. The wins that used to light you up now just feel like another box ticked on an endless list. Meanwhile, the world keeps feeding us examples of people who prove that more isn't enough. People who seem to have everything but still feel empty. They chase harder, numb deeper, or spiral louder, and we call that ambition. The truth is, you're not weak for wanting to feel something deeper. You're human, and emotions aren't the enemy of success. They're the engine of it. Mastering them isn't about becoming soft or sentimental. It's about unlocking the ability to inspire others, to attract effortlessly, to stay grounded when others break, and to genuinely enjoy the success that you've worked for. This new 4-part video series will show you how to stop being run by hidden emotional patterns that push you to chase or prove or perform, and how to build the one set of skills that quietly separates the people who burn out from the ones who rise with ease. Because at the end of the day, emotional mastery isn't about control. It's about freedom. Freedom from chasing, freedom from neediness and desperation, freedom to finally live as the person you're meant to be. Now, most people don't realize this, but emotions are the invisible force driving every decision they've ever made. That's why mastering them isn't optional, it's foundational. And who am I to be telling you this? I'm David Tian. For almost 2 decades, I've helped more than 200,000 people from over 87 countries find fulfillment, meaning, and success in their personal and professional lives. I've seen every version of the high achiever: the entrepreneur who can't slow down, the executive who feels like an imposter, the professional who wins every external battle but loses the ones inside his own head. My work blends the precision of leadership science with the depth of psychotherapy. I'm a Brown University certified leadership coach and a certified IFS therapy practitioner and an ICF certified coach. This isn't just theory, it's the culmination of everything that actually works. For most of us, the plan was simple: work hard, make money, build a life that looks successful. We told ourselves that once we reached a certain level, the promotion, the relationship, the significance, then we could finally relax. We'd finally feel something deeper. But after all the effort, the goalposts just moved. There's always another milestone, another mountain, another next level. The chase never ends. In dating, we try to impress instead of connect. We hide the parts that feel too needy or too emotional or too human. Then we wonder why the attraction fades once we get what we thought we wanted. In relationships, we play the role of the provider or the rock, but inside we're starving for the same depth and safety we're afraid to ask for. In our careers, we learn to bury emotions under spreadsheets and strategy. We push through burnout. We tell ourselves we can rest later, after the next deal or after the next big win, but later never comes. We've trained ourselves to be tougher, but forgotten what the whole point of it was. For high achievers especially, the message was clear. Emotions make you weak. To be strong is to stay composed, to never let them see you bleed. But that's not strength, that's armor. And armor may protect you, but it also keeps everything more meaningful locked out. We achievers learn to suppress feelings to get things done, but the cost is subtle. A life that looks good on the outside but feels hollow on the inside. That's why emotional mastery matters, because until you master your emotions, you'll keep chasing the next thing, hoping it'll fill the emptiness. Emotional strength isn't about control, it's about freedom. Freedom from chasing, freedom to connect, freedom to genuinely enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build. Let's look closer at the science of this. So every goal you've ever chased, success, security, love, comes down to emotions. That hit of satisfaction, that sense of significance, that moment of calm after the chaos. We're all chasing it, but here's the twist. The emotions we're running after are the same emotions we've never learned to understand or master. Whether you know it or not, your emotions already run your life. Every decision you've ever made to start something, end something, fight, freeze, or walk away were driven by feelings for feelings. You might tell yourself it was logic, but the Nobel Prize winning scientific research has shown that logic only builds the bridge. Emotion decides where and what you aim for and why. The renowned neuroscientist Antonio Damasio proved this through his many decades of research, especially reported in his book Descartes' Error. He studied people who had traumatic brain injury in the parts of the brain responsible for processing emotion. The research subjects could still reason perfectly. They could analyze a decision all day, list the pros and cons, calculate every detail, but they couldn't decide because the emotional processing parts of their brains were damaged. So they couldn't access motivation or what they even wanted because those are emotions. As a result, they couldn't act. They were literally stuck in paralysis of analysis because emotion isn't the opposite of reason, it's the foundation of it. Without emotions like desire, logic itself has no use. That's why we get stuck even when we know what to do. You can know every productivity hack, every relationship principle, every dating strategy, every financial plan. But because conflicting emotions are driving you unconsciously, all that logic goes out the window when it matters most. We freeze, we overthink, we avoid, and then we judge ourselves for it, not realizing that emotion is what's driving all human behavior. The medieval philosopher Buridan tells a story about a donkey standing between two identical piles of hay. I like to call it Buridan's ass. Perfectly rational, this ass or donkey couldn't decide which pile of hay to eat, so it stands there in the middle and starves. That's what happens when we try to make decisions without emotion, without that internal compass, or even just knowing what we want, those gut feelings. And then we end up paralyzed by options. So the real question isn't whether emotions control you, it's whether you can master them. Most people believe mastering emotions means controlling them, staying calm under pressure, never letting anyone see you sweat. But that is not mastery, that's repression. And repression is not strength, it's tension. It's holding your breath and calling that discipline. It's pretending the storm isn't there while it builds beneath the surface. True mastery is different. It's not about controlling your emotions, it's about understanding them so deeply that they become your greatest strength. When you master emotion, you don't get thrown off course by fear or anger or shame. Instead, you tune into them. You let them inform you without hijacking you. You can stand in chaos and stay clear. You can love without losing yourself. You can lead without burning out. That's the difference between people who look successful and people who feel successful. But most high achievers were never taught this. From a young age, we were rewarded for performance, not our presence. We learned that being emotional made us unreliable, unpredictable, undesirable. So we learned to suppress it, to focus, to achieve, to make things happen through sheer force of will. And it worked, right? But really only for a while. We built careers, networks, relationships. We got the things we thought we wanted. But over time, the cost shows up. The spark fades. Work becomes heavy. Relationships start to feel transactional. We wake up wondering why, after doing everything right, we still feel so empty. The truth is, when you ignore your emotions, they don't just go away, they go underground. They drive your choices from the shadows. They dictate how much risk you take, who you trust, what you tolerate. They decide which dreams you pursue and which ones you quietly abandon. All from your unconscious, so you're largely unaware. Every rational decision you make, who you date, who you hire, what goals you set, starts with a feeling. Emotion sparks desire. It fuels motivation. It's what makes you get out of bed in the morning and chase after something you believe in. Strip that emotion away, and there's no reason to move at all. That's why emotional mastery is the foundation of every other form of mastery. Business, leadership, love, purpose, they all begin and end with emotion. It's the invisible thread running through every human story. The reason some people burn out while others thrive. But here's the good news. Emotional skill can be trained. It's not something you're born with or without. It's like muscles. And like any muscle, it grows with training. When you develop emotional strength, the same energy that used to sabotage you starts to serve you. Anger becomes power without destruction. Fear becomes clarity. Sadness becomes depth. Joy becomes presence. Instead of fighting your emotions, you channel them. You move through life with influence instead of impulse. That's what this is about. Freedom. Freedom from chasing. Freedom from being ruled by emotional reactions you can't name. Freedom from being stuck in the same patterns no matter how much you achieve. Because if you don't learn to master emotion, emotion will master you from the shadows. It'll show up in the deals that you don't close because of hesitation, or the partner you push away when you start to feel vulnerable, the burnout that creeps in when you've done everything right but still feel wrong inside. This program is not about fixing emotions. It's about understanding them, building the capacity to feel fully without being flooded, to lead with calm intensity, to connect without fear, to inspire others without needing validation. When you can do that, everything in your life changes, not through effort, but through alignment, integration, harmony. You stop trying to get love and start radiating it. You stop chasing confidence and start embodying it. You stop trying to manage your emotions and start mastering your state. The irony is that the more you try to control emotion, the more control it has over you. But when you turn toward it, when you learn its language, it becomes your ally. Imagine being able to walk into any situation like conflict or rejection or loss and stay grounded and centered. Not because you don't care, but because you've trained your nervous system to stay open under pressure. That's an example of the power of emotional mastery. So as you go through this new series, I want you to notice something. Every moment of hesitation, every flash of frustration, every time you procrastinate or lose focus, that's emotion. It's not weakness, it's not laziness, it's a signal, a message from your system about what it needs. Now, if you've made it this far, it probably means something in what I've said rings true to you. You already know emotions drive more of your life than you've been willing to admit, but a few objections might still be bouncing around in your head. Maybe the first is this: I've already done mindset work, David. I've read the books, I've heard the podcasts, I've meditated, I'm fine. But here's the problem. Most mindset work stays stuck in the mind. It doesn't reach the parts of you that actually make decisions. You can't think your way into emotional strength any more than you can read about push-ups and expect to build muscle. You have to train it. You have to feel it. Emotional mastery is not about collecting more insights. It's about rewiring how your system handles pressure, desire, fear. The second objection is the one achievers always whisper to themselves. If I let myself feel more, won't I lose my edge? That's what I used to believe too, that emotions make you weak. But the truth is, when you cut yourself off from emotion, you don't become stronger. You actually just become more brittle. You might get results for a while, but deep down you're running on fumes. When you master emotion, you don't lose your drive, you refine it, you clarify it. Your confidence becomes quieter, your focus becomes cleaner, your influence becomes magnetic. You stop forcing outcomes and they start unfolding naturally. Because when you master your emotions, everything else in your life starts to click. Clarity comes back and your confidence and courage grow naturally. You make decisions faster, influence more powerfully, and move through setbacks with grace instead of panic. You stop wasting energy managing chaos, and that energy turns into creativity, connection, power. Success stops being a chase and starts becoming a byproduct. The final question is the one every serious person asks next. All right, David, I get it. Emotions are central, but how do I actually do this? What are the steps to doing this? That's exactly what we'll cover in the next video. I'll walk you through the 4 core skills that make emotional mastery practical, repeatable, and trainable. Skills drawn from the most effective, proven therapeutic methods used by the top performers and clinicians in the world. By the end of the next video, you'll know not just what emotional mastery is, but how to start building it. Because once you learn how to work with emotion instead of against it, success, influence, connection, these stop being things that you chase. They become things you attract naturally. So here's what I want from you before the next video drops. Leave a comment below and tell me this. What's the one emotion that's hardest for you to face? Maybe it's anger, maybe it's fear, maybe it's that quiet emptiness that creeps in when no one's around. Whatever it is, name it, because that's where your real power begins. And in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to work with it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.